Ma'am, it's a great pleasure to extend. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. It's our great pleasure to extend a warm and cordial welcome to Dr. Jyoti, Assistant Professor at Lingaya's Vidyapeeth, deemed to be University, Faridabad, for today's guest lecture on Legal and Ethical Foundation of Startups, a roadmap for emerging entrepreneurs. Dr. Jyoti is an accomplished academician, researcher, and editor with expertise in human resource management, digital transformation, and AI integrated work models. Her contribution to Scopus indexed journals, international conferences, and her role as a reviewer for reputed publishers like IGI Global and really reflect her strong academic excellence. She is also an innovator with multiple patents to her credit and has been actively involved in mentoring scholars and promoting impactful research. Her insights in ethical governance and modern organizational practices make her an ideal speaker for today's session. We truly honored to have her with us, and we are confident that her valuable insights will greatly benefit all the participants. On behalf of the institution, I extend a heartfelt welcome to you, ma'am,
Thank you
and
so much.
thank you for sparing your valuable time to guide and inspire our students. Thank you, ma'am.
Well, thank you so much, Anshika, for such a warm welcome. And I just request every student to please switch on your cameras. Initially, I should at least see everyone who all are with us today. See, I would appreciate if you all will, interact with me more, because this way only our session gets, exciting and interactive. Thank you. Yeah. Manaxa, can we have a picture like all together? Anshika? Yeah. Well, good morning, everyone, all of you. I hope you all are doing well today. You can give me thumbs up. You can unmute
Yes,
yourself.
ma'am.
You can say something, right? You can smile also. I can see your beautiful faces, all of yours. Okay. First of all, I would like to sincerely thank the management and the institution for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And a special thanks to Dr. Vinayak Tripathi for this wonderful opportunity to connect with such bright and inspiring students. Students, are you aware that in which topic today we are going to talk about? Any idea? Any of you have any idea? I hope you must
Yes,
have
ma'am.
seen that brochure or that, the pamphlet. So today, we are going to discuss a very interesting and I would say a need of the hour topic, because you all are students and you all are going to even start your businesses or job. So our topic today's session is all about the legal and ethical foundations of startups, which is a roadmap for emerging entrepreneurs. So first of all, let me share my screen with all of you. Okay. So I hope my screen is visible. Is my screen visible to you? Is my PPT visible to everyone? Yes, thank you so much. Yeah. So today we are going to talk upon the legal and ethical foundations of startup, a roadmap for emerging entrepreneurs. So now, before I begin this session, let me ask you something. So you all have to answer me. Okay. Let me open that as well. In between, I would like to see your beautiful faces also. Yeah. Okay. So you tell me, how many of you have ever thought of starting your own business? How many of you? Or I would say that you see, you all want to do job, or you want to start your own business. Okay. Well, let me tell you that you all may have some confusion that whether you will be going for this job or a startup. At this life or stage, you all are exploring possibilities. Some of you may go for jobs, some may plan for higher studies, and some of you may think that of starting your own venture, maybe now or maybe after a few years, But one thing is common for all. Do you all have dreams? You can give me thumbs up. You all have dreams? Yes. Yeah. Here we must be very honest that we all want a very good life, right? So we want to travel, we want good clothes to wear, we want a nice house, and we want a good car. And yes, maybe I think most of you must have iPhones, right or no? Right? You all have phones, right? And iPhone's dream is everybody's dream, isn't it? Especially the Gen Z generation. And yeah, thank you, Shalini. Shalini is laughing. Okay. So, and somewhere, entrepreneurship is one of the strongest paths to achieve that kind of life. Why I'm saying that? Because with the job you get the fixed income, but when you are the own boss and you have your own venture, you know how much you need to earn to get that specific in order to achieve that goal, right? And you might have already studied or will be studying entrepreneurship as a subject. And today, even the government of India, they are strongly encouraging people to start their own ventures through initiatives like Startup India. You all have heard this word, Startup India? Maybe at your home, right? Okay, thank you, Shalini. Yeah. Why the government is doing that, and they are also providing lot many benefits like funding, support. They are supporting. They are like tax exemptions they are giving, and they are giving the ease of doing businesses also. But here is something very important that most people ignore. What is that? Starting a business is exciting, but sustaining a business is very challenging. Okay, we all can start, but in order to sustain that, it is very challenging. And many startups they don't fail because of lack of ideas, because they fail because of their because they ignore legal and ethical foundations. So today we are going to talk about more about the legal and ethical foundations of startups. Okay. So, one more question I would like to ask, like, can a startup become very successful and still fail? Is it like that? Is it possible that one startup it has become very successful, and like in few years it has failed? Is it possible?
Yes, ma'am. If consistency will be not there, it can.
Absolutely right. Now here let me tell you a very here's a statistics which is written over here. Like 90% of startups they fail, but many due to legal and ethical mistakes. And there are a few examples which I have written over here, case studies. Wherein, if I talk about WeWork, or have you ever heard of this WeWork? Any one of you? WeWork organized this startup. Okay, let me tell you about this. This WeWork was founded in 2007 by co-founder McCleb. What was the idea of starting it? It was the idea of transforming the way people work by providing flexible shared office spaces. So this was all about that you can share the office spaces. The concept was very simple, and it was very powerful concept that we can create a beautifully designed workspaces that startups, freelancers, and even large companies they could use without long-term leases. And this idea it quickly gained popularity, especially in major cities, as it supported the growing startup culture. Okay, and backed by major investors like SoftBank, WeWork they expanded aggressively across the globe and was positioned not just as a real estate company but as a technology-driven community company also. So the name was given to this organization as a technology-driven company, a community company. But due to its strong narrative and rapid expansion, its valuation skyrocketed to around 47 billion, making it one of the most talked about startups in the world. But however, beneath this rapid growth, several legal and ethical concerns were building up also. Like the leadership style of Adam, one of the founder, it came under scrutiny for lack of corporate governance and questionable decision making also. So he was, involved in multiple conflicts of interest, such as purchasing properties personally and then leasing them back to WeWork, that their organization. So what happened thereby, like it benefited personally from company operations. So there were also reports of excessive personal spending using company funds, along with a lack of financial discipline. The company, they were incurring huge losses, but these were overshadowed also by aggressive expansion and over optimistic pub projections. So when WeWork, they filed for its IPO, that is initial public offering in 2019, the detailed financial disclosures became public and revealing the actual state of the company. There were massive losses, the businesses were weak, the governance, there was a governance issues also, corporate governance issues. So as a result, what happened, the Adam, it stepped down as CEO and the company's valuation dropped drastically. So they lost around 90% of its value within a short period of time. Okay, so this was all about WeWork. And if I talk about Theranos, which was founded in 2003 by Elizabeth, she was just 19 years old. Okay, she got one idea of starting her own venture at the age of 19 years, and the vision behind the company was highly ambitious, like to revolutionize the healthcare industry by developing a technology that could perform hundreds of blood tests using just a few drops of blood from a finger prick. Like instead of traditional methods that require larger samples and laboratory processing. So this idea, it attracted massive attention because it promised the faster, cheaper, and more accessible diagnostic testing. So as a result, what happened? The Theranos, it gained a strong backing from high-profile investors and business leaders, raising more than 700 million in funding. So she got funding also, reaching a valuation of around $9 billion at its peak. So, the company also partnered with major organizations and projected itself as a breakthrough innovators in medical technology. So, behind this was the impressive growth. The core technology of Theranos was not actually working as claimed. The devices which they developed initially, it failed to produce accurate and reliable results you know so what happened, instead of addressing these issues transparently, the company, they started continuing to mislead the investors, regulators, and even the patients, all the stakeholders. Okay, and internally there was a culture of secrecy and fear. So what happened, like where employees were discouraged from questioning leadership decisions, the company used traditional laboratory equipment while falsely they promote its own technology as a revolutionary. So when investigation happened, reports exposed that these inconsistencies, it led to intense scrutiny from regulators and legal authorities. Eventually, what happened? It was revealed that the company had knowingly made false claims about its capabilities, putting patients at health at risk. Okay, so as a consequence, what happened? This company collapsed, and Elizabeth was found guilty of fraud and conspiracy, leading to a criminal conviction also. So this case has become one of the most prominent examples of ethical failure in startup history. Okay, so this is the reason legal and ethical things are really important when you're thinking of creating your own venture. Okay, so, today's session is not just about law, it's about protecting your dream. You have a dream of creating one startup, and it is about making sure that if you ever start something, you are building it and it should last forever. Okay, it should not fail. So, throughout the session, I just want the everybody to speak up, to give me thumbs up so that I should know that you all are listening. Okay, so let's understand what it really takes to build a startup. Okay, not just successfully but responsibly. So if I talk about, like, as future entrepreneur, this topic could make or break your dream. So you imagine your startup, it shuts down because of one legal mistake, your dream, your team, and investment all gone in one go. Okay, you have a career growth, your legal knowledge makes you a credible investment ready founder, and VCs, they check compliance before writing checks. So 75% of investor due diligence is legal. Startup success makes it possible when legally structured startups, they attract better talent, partnerships, and survive crisis longer also. If I talk about the real world risk, so IP theft, your co-founder disputes, tax evasion, and data breaches all can shut down overnight also. Okay, so coming to the Indian startup ecosystem, I can say that here India has emerged as one of the fastest growing startup ecosystems in the world. Ranking among the top three globally alongside United States and China. So first is United States, then China, and at the third number India comes. So the ecosystem which they have created, it is driven by the innovation, about the digital adoption, about with the help of the government support, and a large young population. So if I talk about the startups, the India has 1 lakh plus startups recognized by the government, and 100 plus unicorns like startups, they valued over $1 billion. And this sectors wherein mostly startups are your fintech, edtech, health tech, e-commerce, and AI. And there's a rise of tech-driven entrepreneurship as well. And the major startup hubs are in Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, and Hyderabad. So this was this Startup India was launched in 2016 by the government of India, and it is a flagship initiative to promote entrepreneurship and innovation. Any one of you, can you tell me what was the objective of creating this Startup India? Do you have any idea? What was the objective of creating this? Yes, absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. Even the government, they took this initiative with the help of, they provide funding also, tax benefits also. They have encouraged innovation and incubation also, and they have provided tax assumptions for eligible startups by creation of incubators and innovation labs, right? Then, if I talk about the legal foundations, so there are few steps which we focus on to start a legal startup in India. When we think about starting a business, most people, they focus only on the idea. Like, you have the idea, you want to start a business, but in reality, in order to convert that idea into a legally recognized startup, it requires a structured process. Okay, the very first step is choosing the right business structure, whether it is a sole proprietorship, or LLP, or a private limited company. So this decision is purely yours. So this is very important because it determines your liability, your taxation, and how easily you can raise funds in the future also. you know Once the structure is decided, the next step your step is registering the business under the Companies Act 2013, which comes under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Okay, and this gives your startup a legal identity, which is very important. Okay, and after that, you need to obtain essential registrations like PAN, TAN for taxation purposes, and even the GST registration if your turnover crosses the prescribed limit. So further, if you want to avail government benefits, you can register your startup under Startup India, which provides tax exemptions, easier compliance, and funding support also. You know, Now a startup is not just an idea; it becomes real only when it is legally recognized. Okay. So now that we have understood the legal steps, let's focus on the first and most important decisions, like choosing the right business structure. You should always think of it like choosing the foundation of a building. So once you decided, you can changing it later becomes difficult. Many people think that this is just a formality, but in reality, this decision affects your liability, your taxation, your control, and future growth also. I have written over here about the private limited companies. So this requires, at least, like, I have written the complete things, the minimum things I have written over here. It requires that there should be two directors if you want to go for the private limited company, and it offers very limited liability. Okay, that means your personal assets are safe here, and the company is treated as a separate legal entity in this. And this is best suited for tech startups and businesses that want to raise funding from investors and venture capitalists. Okay, so if you're dreaming big, scaling fast, or building something like a startup unicorn, so this is usually the preferred structure. Coming to the limited liability partnership, so this requires at least two partners. Again, the liability is limited over here. So it is a mix of partnership and safety. And this is very ideal for the professional services like consultants, lawyers, CA firms, or a service-based startups. Okay, so you over here you get the flexibility in working together, but it also there's a protection of your personal assets as well in LLP. Okay, coming to the one person company, or you can say sole proprietorship, this is perfect if you want to start your business alone. Okay, so it requires only one person and still provides limited liability protection. Okay, if you don't want any partner but still a formal structure, so this is a great option for you. Okay, and okay, now coming to okay, you all going to answer me like, what if someone copies your idea tomorrow? What will happen if somebody else copies your idea someday? Okay. Yes, sir, Vinayak sir, I would request if your student can answer. Like he will, you're right here. Okay. Now coming to the intellectual property, right? This was the idea behind of asking this question. Okay. So what it does, your intellectual see student, these this is very important, and these are basic terms which you all should know. Okay. So, what is intellectual property is it refers to the creation of the mind, idea, ideas, your designs, your inventions, your brand names that need legal protection. All of these things require legal protection. Okay. Coming to the patents, what do we mean by that? You know, your patents are something which protect your innovation. Okay, new innovations, your technology. Now, if I talk about like over here, I've written there was a case between Apple and Samsung. What happened was like the Apple it accused Samsung Electronics for copying their iPhone design, like rounded edges, screen layout, and touch screen features. They Apple have accused Samsung for using that. So this legal battle it started in 2011, and courts in multiple countries were involved. And in the US, Samsung was ordered to pay billions of dollars in damages after once they won that battle. Okay, even design and small features can be patented, and copying innovation can lead to huge financial losses. Then comes trademarks. Now, your trademarks we use in order to protect brand identity, like logo, names, slogan, and you can see many logo: Nike, McDonald's, Tata Group. So what happened? Your McDonald's. There was a case between McDonald's and local restaurants using similar names. They have started using that. So what McDonald's did? You all know that McDonald's has a globally recognized brand. Their name, the Golden Arches logo, and many small restaurants they tried using similar names. Have you heard of McCurry or McKing? McCurry or McKing? What they did, they all have used that M as the logo, the similar yellow logo which the your McDonald's has. They have used that. So McDonald's they filed multiple cases worldwide. Okay, and courts they often ruled in favor of McDonald's. Small businesses they were forced to change their name, their logo, and they have to stop using the similar branding also. Okay, and even similar sounding names can be illegal, and trademark protects brand identity and customer trust. Okay, coming to the copyright, copyright talks about the content, music, videos, books, designs, like for example YouTube videos, your research papers, your app UI. So there was a case between Disney and your let me show you. So what happened? The Disney they aggressively protect its characters Mickey Mouse and unauthorized use like characters like Mickey Mouse movies, music, animations. And why do they do this? So that unauthorized, there should not be any unauthorized use of Disney characters on t-shirts, on toys, in videos or content. So Disney takes strict action against the small sellers as well as the content creators also. Okay, so after that, what happened? The content creators, they removed their YouTube takedowns, and heavy penalties were imposed on that, and legal notices were sent to them for using their ideas. Okay, so if you launch your startup tomorrow and someone copies your idea or logo or content, what you will do? You're going, like, without IP protection, you will lose the control. But with IP protection, you can legally fight back. Okay, and patents, they protect ideas. Trademarks, they protect your identity, and copyrights, they protect creativity. Okay, understood? Then coming to the very important thing, which talks about your contracts and agreements. Now, what happens when the founders, they skip paperwork. Like, you have the idea, you have started doing your work. You have started along with your friend. I can take this example. There are two girls, Ravi, like, two students. They thought of creating their venture. Okay, Ravi and Priya, they start a food tech venture together, and they work hard for 2 years. The business, it starts growing, but suddenly Priya wants to exit. She claims 60% of the equity. So Ravi disagrees that I will not give you anything. So what happened? But since they were have not, they started their business. They have not have any written agreement with them. Your most early stage entrepreneurs, they focus on ideas, funding, and growth, but they ignore the legal documentation, which can destroy a startup faster than competition. Okay, and what happens next? The 2 crore investor funding, it gets frozen. The product or your app development, it stops, and 8 employees lost their job because of that. A legal battle begins, and which lasts for 3 years. Like, all of this could have been avoided with just one document, that is the co-founder agreement. you know if I talk about the co-founder agreement, these are the things which we need in order to have that agreement. Co-founder agreement means, like, this is the foundation document of any startup. You say whether it is a sole proprietorship or partnership or joint venture, like that. Okay, it clearly defines equity split, like who owns how much money, what are the roles and responsibilities, who has the decision making power, what are the exit clauses, what happens if someone leaves. And without this, misunderstandings, they are guaranteed, and relationship will gonna break and business will gonna collapse. Okay, that is very important. Then coming to the NDA, that is your non-disclosure agreement, and this protects your ideas and confidential information. We use it when we share ideas with employees. Okay, when we talk to vendors or partners, when we discuss with investors. So it ensures that no one can leak your business idea, and legal action can be taken if they do. Then comes your employee agreement. So this is crucial, like when hiring your team. Like, it defines the salary and job roles. Okay, the ownership of work, the intellectual property rights, like non compete clauses also. It talks about they cannot join competitors immediately. Okay, and without this, the employees can claim ownership of your product. They may leave, and they may start a competing business also. Okay, so you have to be very careful for that, for all these things, because your business idea should not go to anywhere, right? Because it is your dream, it is your responsibility to protect it. So these are the legal terms which you must be aware of, and if in future you want to start a business, you should have all these things in mind and written also. Coming to the client or vendor contract, this manages external relationships. It includes your payment terms, your deliverables, your liability clauses, your deadlines. But without this, the payment disputes arises. Your work expectations are unclear. There's a legal risk increases with this. Okay. Then coming to the NDA fact, like non-disclosure agreement fact, research shows that 60% of Indian startups, they face trade secret leaks. Mostly from the ex-employees. They have your idea, they know all your clauses, they all about everything, your secrets. What do they do? They leak your secret. So a strong NDA with exit clauses can reduce that risk up to 80%. Okay. Then comes the like actual funding reality check. If you remember only one thing from this session, like from the day and like from this time we have started this session, startups, they don't fail only because of bad ideas, they fail because of poor legal foundations. Okay, so you have to put everything in writing. Don't rely on verbal trust. Okay, so let me begin with a very common misconception which we all have. Funding is free money, but this is completely wrong. And when investors they give you money, they're actually buying a part of your company, that is your equity. They're gaining rights and control. They're expecting returns, the profits or the exit gains. Okay, so funding is all equals to the partnership plus responsibility plus dilution of ownership also. Okay, then if I have taken these terms also so that you should be familiar when you have when you think about of the startup term. If I talk about the angel investors, who are they? They are the early age supporters. Okay, let's understand this angel investors. So these are the individual investors, but not the big firms. Okay, they invest their own personal money. Okay, and the investment it can range between 25 lakhs to 5 crores. It depends upon the investor. Okay, they can invest at idea or the seed stage. And why will they invest it? Because they know, they have understood your idea, they know that you have the potential of doing this. And if they will invest their money, they're going to get something in return. Okay, they take around 10 to 30% of equity. Okay, they provide mentorship, they provide industry connections. The terms are flexible here, and the legal process is very simple. The decisions are taken quickly in this. Okay, like people like Ratan Tata, they invested early in companies like Ola, Paytm, Snapdeal. They have already invested in that. Okay, and angel investors, are not just giving money; they are guiding the startup in its initial journey. Okay, so it is like that. And coming to the venture capital, it talks about the growth stage funding. Your angel talk about the startup early stage support, and the venture capital it talks about the growth stage funding. Okay. Now let's move to the venture capital. So these are the institutional investors. These are the companies' funds. Okay, they manage large pools of money. Okay, the investment over here range. About from 5 crores to 500 plus crores, and they invest in series ABC stages. They have the growth stages. Okay, they take around 20 to 40% equity, and usually they demand board set the decision making power. And agreements over here are legally complex, and a detailed term sheets are prepared with this, and they bear heavy due diligence. And over here the decision making is actually slow because it is a very large amount. That this is the reason. So over here venture capitals, they focused on rapid growth and high returns. Again, not just the survival of the business, they are focusing on the high return part because they are investing more. So they are expecting more return also. Okay, now let me quickly tell you about the key difference about the angel investor and the venture capital. Your angel investor talks about the individual. Okay, venture capital talks about the institution. Okay, angel investor talks about early stage, venture talks about the growth stage. And there is a flexibility in angel investor, but there's a strict and complex work culture in the venture capital. And then the decision making is quick in angel, and decision making is slow in venture capital. So there's a mentorship driven culture for investor, your angel investor, and return driven culture for the venture capital. Okay, so you have to be very careful if you want to where you get the funding. Okay, then comes about the your let me explain this very carefully. Like this is where the most students they get real insight. Okay, uh, if I talk about the scenario one, ethical dilemmas, the fake user data to impress investors. I hope you all have not slept. Are we together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. So now I'm talking about the ethical foundations which you think take care of. If you had the chance to grow your startup faster by doing something slightly wrong, what would you do it? You tell me, like, you have the chance to grow your startup faster, okay? But the only clause is that you have to do something wrong. Will you do that?
No, ma'am.
No. Why? Because this section is about ethical dilemmas, where situations where like the wrong choice it gives short-term gain, and the right choice it builds long-term success. Okay. Wherein if I talk about scenario A, it says that fake user data you have taken the fake user data to impress investors. So if investors they want big numbers, would you exaggerate your user data? If you choose wrong, you may raise 5 crore funding, but it is fraud. It leads to SEBI investigation, criminal charges, startup shutdown. So I've just written over the scenarios what all things happen. Okay, what is the right approach of going to this? You show real traction, even if it is small. You be honest about growth. Okay, the investors they invest in trust, not just the numbers. Then coming to the scenario B, like you underpay your employees to save cost. Startup hai. Sometimes we say startup hai. Budget come hai. Can we justify low salaries? Can we pay low to our employees? You know, what happens is like you violate the minimum wage laws in this. You actually get the negative reviews through Glassdoor or LinkedIn. You lose the top talent. You put the damage to your reputation of your organization. So what is the right way of this? You should give flexible working culture to your employees if it is a startup, and there should be a growth opportunities available for the employees as well. And in startups, culture is stronger than salary. What type of culture you are creating, inculcating in your startup, that matters the most then even than salary. Okay, if your employees are happy with your culture, then I think they are going to stay with you for the long time. Okay, we all need salaries, but if we have the comfort zone and if we value our organization, but then the organization they never lose it. Okay, then comes the another scenario which is like you sell user data without consent. Like if you're selling the data, like if selling data brings easy revenue to you, like should a startup do it? You tell me that you are selling the data, very confidential data outside, and you're getting money out of it. But whether you should do it or not,
No, ma'am. It's not ethical to do.
because it violates your IT Act 2000, like your data protection laws. You have to pay heavy penalties up to crores also. You destroy the brand trust. Okay, so there should be a clear privacy policy, and there should be a transparency. So it's like that. Okay. Then these are the case studies which we have already discussed about the WeWork, and I would like all of you to please read more about these case studies, so that you should have the idea that wherein the legal why the legal and ethical things are important when we think upon startup. Okay, what are the common mistakes that startups they make? Because you should avoid these. You should ignore legal. You should not ignore the legal compliances. No IP protection, unethical shortcuts. There should not be any unethical shortcuts, and no founder agreement. Like equity disputes are one startup killer. You should fix it with the founders agreement. Okay, and there should not be wrong business structure. Okay, you should carefully select your business structure. And now if you want to start a startup tomorrow, you should validate your idea first. You should make research. You should do more interviews, because the one who have already experienced it, you are going to get many more ideas out of them. And you should do competitive analysis also. And then comes the legal registration. You choose the structure, like whether it is a sole proprietorship, partnership, or how much money you're going to invest. You should protect your intellectual property rights, like trademarks, your logos should not go anywhere. Patent key should be there, copyright, brand assets. And then should have everything is in written format. There should be an agreement. Okay, You should build ethical culture also, and you should scale responsibilities along with that. So there are golden rules for startup founders. First is your legal compliance is not optional; it is the floor, not the ceiling. Then ethics, it builds trust. Like shortcuts always destroy you, and trust takes years to build and seconds to lose. Okay. Then comes reputation is your biggest asset. Yeah, money can return, but reputation it cannot. And a great startup is responsible, not just profitable always. Okay. Then it was all about the legal aspects of the startup. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me.
Good morning, ma'am.
Hanji, hi, good morning. Tell me.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, what are the most important legal compliances that every startup should follow at the initial stage?
Okay. At the initial stage, if I say, that's a very important question, I must say, because a strong legal foundation it actually saves a startup from future risk. Okay. At the initial stage, you all like all the startups, they should focus on few compliances like there should be a proper business registration first, okay, and the second registration should be there like GST, PAN, and TAN. Third, there must be founder agreement, like you must be clearly defined roles and responsibilities and equity distribution. And fourth is your labor law compliance also if employees are hired. And licenses and permits, it depends upon the nature of the business. Like so, these are the basic things are clear. Like the startup should avoid legal complications and they should build investor trust from day one. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have a question. How can entrepreneurs ensure ethical decision making while facing pressure for rapid growth and profits?
Okay. This is where the character defines success. It is just not a strategy. In today's competitive environment, the pressure for growth is real, actually. But ethical decision making it can be ensured by having clear values and code of ethics. You should focus on long term reputation over short term gains, and like you can build a culture of transparency and accountability, because at the end of the day a business may grow fast with shortcuts but it survives long only with ethics. Okay. Any other question you have? Okay. I hope you all must have understood today's lecture. I hope you all must have understood what I was here to deliver. You must have
Ma'am,
now.
I have one question.
Yes.
How do intellectual property rights play a role in protecting a startup's idea and innovation?
Okay, see, there was a slide for the IPR.
Yeah.
Your intellectual property rights are actually the backbone of the innovation-driven startup. Okay, they protect the unique ideas, products, and technology. They prevent others from copying your ideas or misusing your work. Okay, and they build competitive advantage in the market and by increasing valuation and investor confidence. Like for example, your patents it protects inventions, the trademarks it protect brand names and logos, and copyright it protect creative work. So if a startup does not protect its idea legally, it risks losing its uniqueness in the market also. Okay?
Okay.
So Vinayak sir, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, Shalini, you're audible.
Okay, so on behalf of IIMT College of Law, I express my sincere gratitude to everyone who contributed to making today's guest lecture on legal and ethical foundations of startups, a roadmap for emerging entrepreneurs, a meaningful and enriching session. First and foremost, I extend our heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Jyoti Ma'am, for sharing her valuable insights and expertise. Your session has truly enlightened us on the legal and ethical dimensions of startups and provided a clear direction for aspiring entrepreneurs.
I would also like to express my deep gratitude to our respected Director Sir and all senior authorities for their constant support and encouragement in organizing such insightful and academic initiatives. Special thanks to the organizing team, faculty members, and the Innovation Club for their dedicated efforts in planning and executing this session smoothly. I would also like to appreciate all the students for their active participation and enthusiasm, which made this session interactive and engaging. Lastly, I personally feel grateful for the opportunity to be a part of organizing this session. It has been a great learning experience. Once again, I thank everyone for their valuable presence and contribution. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Shalini, for this wonderful word of thanks. I hope I did justice to this topic, Vinayak sir and students. So all the very best students, in future you like I would request all of you, you must think about it and you must go for the startup thing for your own venture. We all earn salary, we all will be doing the job, but you must give a thought to this thing as well. Okay? All the very best and thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.